When was the last time you tried something new? Not because you had to or because a change was forced on you, because you wanted to, or at the very least, you knew that maybe you should. This past year has been a year of new. Brene Brown has a very popular podcast that talks about just how hard and tiring doing something for the first time can be. And believe me, I get it. When we moved to Montana, I remember being worn out by all the new fatigue, someone called it. New state, new house, new church, new working arrangement. Nora started kindergarten at a new school, Finn a new daycare, new people. And one that I remember being really annoyed about, new parking lots that I didn't know the sneaky ways to get out of yet. And now in COVID, a new way to worship, a new way to go to the doctor, a new way to shop, new things to remember before walking out the door. Do you have your mask? I always holler. New traditions, new ways to do our job, new technologies. Oh, so many new technologies. I am an Enneagram 7, and so as you can see from my new hair, I like trying new things, new places. I don't like going on vacation to somewhere I've been before. New foods. I rarely order the same thing twice. In my role as pastor, I often find myself encouraging people to go outside of their comfort zone to do something new. Try a ministry area you've never tried before. Go on that mission trip you're not sure how you'll pay for. Sign up for a Bible study you don't think you're smart enough for. I've always just thought about this as a way that we grow in our walk with Jesus. But it turns out pushing ourselves to do new things is actually good for our mental health. Time magazine interviewed psychologist Rich Walker, who studies memories. And he says people who engage in a variety of experiences are more likely to retain positive emotions and minimize negative ones than people who have fewer new experiences. Research suggests that a greater sense of purpose and personal growth associated with overcoming fears correlates with lower cortisol levels, which leads to better immune function and more efficient sleep. In other words, if we stay stressed about the fear of new, then those levels go up, causing our bodies to work overtime. But when we are able to overcome the fear, the reaction of the accomplishment brings the stress levels back down. After identifying Jesus as the Son of God and baptizing him in the Jordan, John the Baptist found himself in prison. And while he sat, his disciples would come back and give him reports about what Jesus was up to. John had lived a very simple life, but his disciples reported that Jesus was eating and drinking at a wedding, and more importantly, not following the rules of the Pharisees. Eventually, John would send his disciples to ask Jesus if he indeed was the Messiah. And like the preacher in Ecclesiastes, Jesus tells John's disciples that there is a time for everything. And then Jesus offers a parable. Neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst and the wine will run out. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and then both are preserved. Fermented drinks like wine expand, and since an old wineskin would have already been stretched to its limit, the new wine would tear the seams. This is why new wine needed to be preserved in new wineskins. One blog writer puts it this way: Jesus was making a very specific point to John the Baptist. He was here to do something completely new. And if John or anyone else tried to make sense of it through a lens of an old expectations and regulations, they'd miss the amazing thing that was happening. Through Jesus, God was bringing about a new way of life. And if people expected it to look familiar to what God had done before, they would never understand. I get the allure of comfort. Eric and I went to a resort in Mexico a few years ago, and it was the first time that I remember thinking, oh, it'll be so nice to come back here. We'll know our way around. We'll know how it works. But as we begin to round the COVID corner, I hope we resist the urge to only go back to the things that we know. It's a new year full of new possibilities. And to adapt the words of the blog writer just a bit, if we try to make sense of it through a lens of old expectations, old regulations, we'll miss the amazing things that are happening. God is bringing about a new way of life. And if people expect it to look like what God has done before, we will surely miss it.